What's up, guys? My name is Jacob. This is Clay. Thank you for tuning in this week. We are in a series called Grace, where we're talking all about
Grace.
grace.
Shocker.
Wow.
It's like
We're super creative.
Did we come up with that title for that series? No.
No.
Did we come up with the dope graphics? No.
We didn't come up with anything. So before we dive in, Clay's got an awesome announcement for you guys, so please listen closely.
I am pumped about it. Okay. Wednesday nights, 6:30. Mark your calendars. Set a notification on your phone. Text your group chats because we are going live at 6:30
Going
every
live!
Wednesday night, which means every middle schooler, every high schooler will all be together watching the same stream.
Yep.
You know, we live stream church every single week, and we were like, well, might as well use that capability for student stuff, this gen stuff as well. So every Wednesday night at 6:30, we're going to go live on Facebook, we're going to go live on YouTube, we're going to go live on the app so that people can experience a live community together. We're really, really excited about it. So what will happen is everybody will be all together at 6:30, just watching this stream together. Maybe you'll have the chat box open, whatever. It'll be awesome. And then we'll go for 30 minutes. There'll be some games. There'll be some teaching. It'll be awesome. It'll be a lot of fun. And then after that, we'll break into our respective Zoom groups. So if you're a 6th grade girl, you're going to go to the 6th grade girl Zoom group. If you're someone from Ainer, you're going to go to the Ainer Zoom group. If you're Carolina Forest, the Zoom group there. Obviously, whatever group you're a part of, you're going to do your own Zoom groups. But everybody will be all together on Wednesday night watching that live stream together that goes live at 6:30, and we cannot wait for it.
Yep.
And this was an idea that came very quickly to us, and we haven't even had our planning meeting on how exactly it's going to go, but we've set it on video now, so now we're locked in.
Yep.
That's how we do things.
One big happy virtual family. Am I
That's
right?
right. Hey, yeah, it's going to be great.
Speaking of family,
Yep.
we're talking about two sisters this week because we're
Yeah.
talking about extending grace to friends and family. And this hits close to home for me
Yeah.
because this week we're talking about Luke chapter 10, verses 38 through 42. If you're not familiar with that, this is the story of Jesus visiting the sisters Mary and Martha.
Yep.
So what scripture tells us is that Jesus is going to Bethany to visit his friends. And it says friends, Mary and Martha. And while he's coming in, Martha is busy at work. She's tidying up the place.
She's grinding.
She's like Snow White with all of those woodland creatures. She's putting it together. She's making food. She's vacuuming if they had vacuums back
Can you
then.
imagine how dusty life was back then?
Oh, gosh.
Just terrible.
Just imagine their feet.
Oh, crusty.
But so she's hard at work, and all the while her sister Mary is sitting at Jesus' feet. And you might wonder exactly what Martha asks is like, wait a second, Martha's doing all the work.
Yeah.
Why is Mary just sitting there? Like, what is this? And Martha comes up and says, Jesus, don't you think it's unfair that I'm here doing all the chores and Mary's just sitting there? Tell her to help me.
Yeah.
And Jesus says, Martha, Martha,
Chill out. Relax.
calm down. Don't you see that Mary chose what is best? And immediately it changes everything.
Yeah.
And my take on it is Martha wasn't doing anything wrong.
No, she wasn't. That's the tricky thing about this story. People think that Martha was in the wrong. No, she was still doing something good. She was still working and serving the Lord.
Yep. But Mary chose what was most important, what was best.
Yep.
And that's sitting at Jesus' feet. So Martha had an opportunity to show grace to Mary, but she didn't.
Yep.
Why do you think Martha should have shown grace to Mary?
Well, there's this tricky thing in life where we think we're always right, and we're not always right. I know I'm like that. I know you're like that. I'm sure everybody watching like that is like that as well. And just because you think something is being done the right way doesn't give you the leverage, it doesn't give you the fairness to say that, because it might not be the case. Very practically here, I know all you middle schoolers and all you high schoolers are at home right now. I am sure that your parents have you working on projects around the house. I'm sure you're doing homework like crazy. Like I'm sure that's happening, and I'm sure you are so sick of your siblings right now that you want to just drop kick them in the teeth. Like you just can't handle it.
Yep.
But what you need to do is extend grace, right? Because your parents or whoever's taking care of you, they're explaining and having you do something. Just because they're having you do something, or just because you are doing something and someone else isn't, doesn't mean that that needs to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because it might not be what's best for that person at that time.
Yeah.
This idea of grace, it's not fair. And if this idea was fair, if grace was fair, then it would be terrible. Because
None of us would get it.
none of us would get. There's no reason Jesus would have to die on the cross for all of us. That's not fair. Mm-hmm. But grace isn't fair.
Yep.
Grace is about giving people what they need.
Yep. And I love what you said there, because the definition of grace is a gift that we don't deserve.
Yeah.
And Martha literally looks at Jesus and says, "This isn't fair."
Yep.
And thank goodness it's not fair.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would all be dead.
Yeah.
And we would get what we technically deserve, and we wouldn't receive the greatest gift of all. So what's a practical way that you can start practicing grace? Like, who do you have a hard time showing grace to?
Man, a very practical way to show grace is to kind of take a step back and recognize what's really happening right now. If Martha would have taken a step back from her serving and getting after it, which, like we said, wasn't a bad thing, and recognized what Mary was actually doing, which is worshiping at the feet of Jesus, she would have recognized, oh, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. That's a great thing. You know what? I'm going to keep serving so that she can do that. That's extending grace, right?
Yeah.
In the same way for us, I think it has to be a very practical thing where we go, man, I need to step away from this grudge I have right now. I need to take a step back from this feeling of animosity I have to somebody, this feeling where, like, I'm annoyed by you, and really realize what's going to be best for that person and their relationship with Jesus.
Yep.
Chances are it's going to be you extending grace.
Yep.
It's going to be you going, you know what? This grudge I have for you, it's gone.
Yep.
This animosity I have for you, it's gone. Because my grudge, my animosity is not going to help you know who Jesus is any better than if you do it the other way, right?
That's good.
So, very practical right now. Your middle schoolers, your high schoolers, and you are leaders in here watching. Me and Jacob know this. You all know this. Every single one of us, we all have grudges against people.
Yep.
Who's that person you have a grudge against? How can you extend grace to them?
Yeah.
I think that's huge right now.
And what you said reminded me of what Fink always tells us is to not react, but
Yeah.
to respond.
Yep.
And sometimes it takes a second to pause.
Yep.
Because your emotions will get built up.
Yes.
You'll get angry.
And it's very clear that she's frustrated because
Yep.
she's working hard and she's so busy that she misses what's happening.
Yep, exactly. And she gets tilted and she's not able to respond the way that she's supposed to in grace.
Yep.
So we all need a reality check and need to realize we were all lost at one point.
Yeah.
And we are all in need of grace. So the same person that's frustrating you, that's done something wrong to you, that maybe like you're holding a grudge against, you need to realize that you're once in their shoes too.
Yeah.
And the only person a grudge is going to hurt is you, because oftentimes the person that you're holding a grudge against doesn't even know.
There's no way Mary had any idea that Martha was angry.
Yeah, so you would be doing yourself a favor and be able to operate so much more freely and with more joy if you were to extend grace to those people. It's hard. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's easy to extend grace all the time.
Yeah.
But it is what's best. So whoever that is, you know who it is. We don't.
Yep.
Start trying to take the steps of extending grace to them. And you never know what could happen. They might have a better chance of knowing who Jesus is just because you do that.
They might want to say, hey, I'm going to join you for that live stream. Can we watch that thing together?
Yep.
That'd be dope.
And don't forget, next Wednesday at 6:30,
6:30.
we're all coming together and we're going to party.
Party.
And it's going to be awesome. So don't miss it, guys. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.